Is this inconsistent EPCOT restaurant finally better? Let's head into the Mexico Pyramid to find out. Hey everybody, today we're doing another food review, this time headed inside the Mexico Pyramid in EPCOT to review San Angel Inn. This restaurant over the years has gotten really mixed reviews. Sometimes it's fabulous, sometimes it's not so much, but have they finally fixed the problem? Is this a hot spot that you should visit on your next Disney trip? Let's go in and find out. Having lunch at San Angel Inn. This is the restaurant inside the Mexico Pyramid, which also houses the Mercado. It houses Grand Fiesta Tour, the boat ride with Donald Duck and the Three Caballeros. It houses La Cava del Tequila, the tequila bar. But we, again, are headed into the sit-down restaurant, which this one gets points for the atmosphere. It's always fun to eat inside a ride, basically. It gives me big Blue Bayou vibes from Disneyland, which puts you inside Pirates of the Caribbean. It's always nighttime here because that's the time the fiesta begins in Mexican culture. And it has the same drink menu, same drink service as La Cava del Tequila. But San Angel Inn often gets very mixed reviews, with it being expensive for often mediocre or at least uneven, unpredictable Mexican food. So let's go see what it's like. I actually had made a reservation for San Angel Inn for later today, and I was filming another video this morning, but I finished filming a lot faster than I thought I would. So then I joined the walk-up wait list, and I got estimated a 10-minute wait for a table. So reservations definitely recommended at any sit-down restaurant in Disney, especially at peak meal times. I'd recommend them here, and if you have a bigger party, I'd recommend them here. But it is available on walk-up wait list, and by joining the walk-up wait list, almost as soon as the restaurant opened, I was able to get a spot without a problem. I got the notification that my table was ready. It was taking a little bit, so I talked to the cast members, and they were able to push it through. They were having some technical issues with the system, so it never feels like it's taking a lot longer than you expect. Sitting at my table. As you can see, you're literally inside the Mexico Pyramid. You've got Grand Fiesta Tour floating by right there, which is always really fun. I like when you can see a ride from a restaurant. It makes it feel fun. It makes it feel themed. It makes it feel like it's nighttime and we're in Mexico and we're having a fiesta. You've got the Mercado right here, Grand Fiesta Tour. If you want to know more about the Mexico Pavilion, I did do a Trapped here recently, so you can check that out for some fun facts and details about the pavilion. Ooh, I think my chips and salsa are here. Taking a look at the menu, they've got a couple of appetizers. They've got tortilla soup, guacamole, queso fundido, Topos Con Queso, and tostadas. I've had the queso fundido, I've had the tostadas, I've had the guacamole, all delicious. I'm going to try something a little bit different though today, but basically the same. And then they do again have the same bar service as La Cava del Tequila, so I believe the San Angel Inn Margarita is their specialty one. It's just their take on a classic one, but they also have the Neil Patrick Harris Margarita. And then if you look at the back, they've got a lot more of the classic margaritas that you can get over at La Cava El Diablo's, the cucumber jalapeno one I love. They've got the world famous avocado margarita, as well as just if you wanted to do tequila shots or tequila flight or mezcal complete with grasshoppers, you absolutely can. And they've got white wine, red wine sparkling, sangria, and beer, all of course Mexican beers, which are great. And then for your entrees, as opposed to the quick service locations outside, which are a lot more street food, this is going to be more plated dishes from Mexico. So you have pollo a la rajas, which is fabulous. I've had that before. It's grilled chicken over a bed of peppers and onions, and it's got cheese, queso on it. It's great. They've got a fried corn masa topped with beans and cheese, and you can add meat onto that. They do have tacos de ribeye, camarones, which are shrimp. They have a Caesar salad, like a Mexican Caesar salad. They have a pork chop. They have enchiladas, fish tacos, a steak, and a shrimp dish there. So a little bit heavier, again, than something you're going to get at the quick service locations outside, which I also love. My first course is here, and of course in Mexico that means a margarita. This is the San Angel Inn Margarita. It's Casa Dragones Blanco Tequila, which is one of my favorite brands, Orangeville liqueur, agave, freshly squeezed lime juice, and then it's got that black salt ant rim. And again, it's just a classic margarita, but what makes it special to this restaurant is how they're serving it in the little baby bucket with the ice, and then you actually pour it yourself. Cheers. It's very good. I don't get my rim salted, but I always get it the way it's presented, so that people know what it looks like off the menu. So that first sip of the salt really puckered me. And yes, I did say black ant salt. If you look really close, you can see actually little like ant legs in the salt, but it doesn't taste any different. But of course, you can ask them to not do that or do regular salt. But it's a very good classic margarita. I normally get, when I go to La Cava, either one of the seasonal margaritas, the specialty margaritas. I love the El Diablo with the jalapenos. I love the Lily. I love, they'll do different ones for different seasons and different flavors, but it's just a really good classic lime margarita. It's not super sweet. It's got the fresh agave in there, the fresh lime juice, really high quality tequila. There's a reason margaritas in Mexico are the most popular drink in EPCOT. Next up, my appetizer. This is the Topos Con Queso, and it's cheese and salsa and chips. So, one thing I do want to note about this restaurant, chips and salsa are not included. I know if you're used to many other Mexican restaurants in the world, probably, approximately, that chips and queso just come to your table like bread service. That is not a thing here. I believe they used to do it. I have memories of them doing it, but maybe it was a fever dream and I was always paying for it. But chips and salsa cost money. It's $6, but this is also $6. So you might as well get the queso. What I'm trying to tell you is the queso is the economical decision. It is your responsibility to eat queso while you're here, unless you're lactose intolerant. But I'm just saying, chips and salsa for $6 or chips and salsa and queso for $6. It feels like a no-brainer. Chips and queso are one of my favorite foods in the entire world. Look at that yummy, creamy, oh my gosh, gloopy queso. Mmm. There are some better than chips, queso, salsa, and a margarita. I don't know if I know what it is. It's excellent queso. It's the same queso you get inside La Cava sometimes when they have it available. It's just creamy, good, really delicious white queso. It's not plastic cheese. It's really nice queso. There's no peppers or anything in it. I prefer my queso when I go to like my hometown local Mexican restaurant. I like it when they have jalapenos in it. Really like it when they put refried beans in it. The salsa is excellent as well. It's always fresh and delicious. You can tell they made the chips in-house because they're like a little bit thicker. They're not too salty, which I prefer. Elite. If you want to zhuzh it up a little bit more, go for the queso fundido, which has chorizo and comes with fresh tortillas. This is the perfect way to start a meal. My entree is here. I went for the ribeye tacos, and they're like a create-your-own-adventure tale, which I love. So in this little skillet, you've got ribeye that's been thinly sliced with some poblano peppers, red onions, and bacon, and Monterey Jack cheese. Creamy, delicious mix going on in there. And then it's served with plantains that have some cotija cheese and crema on them, and then a salsa made with green tomatilla peppers and avocado, and then they house make the tortillas, and they're right there, little corn tortillas, and you get to put them together. All right, let's make a taco. I'm getting some of this, like, oh my gosh, look at that yummy, skillety, cheesy mixture. Yum. Gonna put some of that on there. Yum. Then I'm gonna put some of this tomatilla and avocado salsa on there. And maybe I'll just put the lime on this. I love fresh lime. Fresh lime sets Mexican food apart, in my opinion, like sets tacos to a new level. All right, let's dig in. Y'all, I love tacos. They're one of my favorite foods. Mexican food's my favorite kind of food, kind of cuisine. I'm gonna dip it in the queso now. Those are excellent. I know this restaurant usually gets inconsistent reviews, and I remember coming here as a kid super excited to eat Mexican food. This is my favorite at home. I have this great hole-in-the-wall Mexican restaurant in Atlanta I grew up going to, that I still insist on going to every time I visit. That was just the ribeye skillet mixture. But I have been here thrice now since the reopening, and it's been very good every single time. The service has been great. The food has been good. I mean, these tacos are excellent. This margarita is excellent. My only complaint so far is that you have to pay for chips and salsa now, but this meat is really nice and tender and flavorful. It's got a ton of that cheese on it. I want to bottle this salsa and take it home. It's not super hot, but you can tell it's fresh. It's got that nice creamy avocado flavor and consistency to it, but then it's got a little tiny bit of heat from the peppers. You can tell these tortillas were house-made. Yum. Trying a bite of the plantains, too. I'm not always a huge fan of plantains, but these are really, really nice. You've got the natural sweetness coming from the plantain, that really nice, like, nutty, salty cotija cheese on top. I love cotija cheese. And then I dipped it into the incredible tomatilla salsa to add a little bit of heat, a little extra flavor and creaminess. Excellent. Honestly, like, I understand this meal is expensive because you're eating at a sit-down restaurant inside, you know, in a ride, essentially, but it's very, very good. And while I think the tacos out at the quick service are equally incredible, if not, I like those even a little more because they're spicier than these. There's something to be said for sitting inside in the middle of the day in Epcot when it's really hot and getting a very good margarita, relaxing and luxuriating for a minute. And for those who are wondering, I got a full other margarita out of that. Granted, this is a teeny tiny glass, so it's like the size of a regular margarita, but it's fun in the little shaker. It's like a bottomless milkshake, but a margarita. It's probably a good thing they don't serve actual bottomless margaritas here, am I right? Someone please comfort me. I'm a messy eater. Y'all know that. You've seen me eat if you're watching this probably. But, like, does anyone else's table look like this when they go to a Mexican restaurant? Like, can I not get the salsa in my mouth? And rounding out the meal with a little dessert, I couldn't resist trying the sweet corn ice cream. It's made with milk, with vanilla beans, and corn. So, I mean, I'm excited to try it. I like ice cream. This sounds unique. It literally tastes like vanilla ice cream and a corn tortilla had a baby. You need to like corn tortillas. And as always, especially in this park, probably don't want to get dessert here. You probably want to go to the bakery in France, the bakery in Norway, the caramel shop in Germany, get a kakigori shaped ice in Japan, get that new waffle over at Connections Eatery up at the front of the park. This is very good and very unique, and it really does taste like corn and vanilla, so it's not super duper sickly sweet, but it's hitting the spot for dessert. So if you're curious, it's just one little scoop. You could share this, have a little nibble, but usually I do recommend, and I still do, getting dessert out in the park, especially when there's a festival going on. There may be something sweet you want to eat there. I gotta say, I had a great time at San Angel Inn. I know it's very expensive for Mexican food, but it's not that expensive for a sit-down restaurant in Walt Disney World. Plus, you're sitting inside the air conditioning, and what's cooler than sitting inside the pyramid, basically inside of a ride? That's something you can only really do at a theme park, and I do love that part of the experience here at San Angel. The food I had was very good as well. I thought $6 for the chips and queso was a very fair price. Don't love that that's also the same price if you just want chips and salsa. And those tacos were excellent. I also had a really good margarita, albeit it wasn't the most exciting margarita. There's much more exciting ones. And maybe you're someone who would rather get your AC and your Mexican food by just going in to La Cava del Tequila and having one of those signature margaritas and having some queso. But if you are someone who's looking for a sit-down meal, need a break from the heat while you're at Epcot, I think San Angel Inn has fixed its problem, at least in my experience. I've eaten here recently several times, and it's always been good. So I think this restaurant's gotten a whole lot better. Well, that's a wrap on this review. Let us know what other restaurants you want reviewed down in the comments. In the meantime, friends, it's been magical. Now go watch my review of Tepanito in the Japan Pavilion.